You know those videos where people say, like, I was playing Roblox and then this happened, and then they show you some clip of something horrifying happening to them? Well, today I'm gonna try to make one of those videos, but it's gonna be real. Like, I'm actually gonna try to scare you with a Roblox story. This is gonna be different from my normal style of content, so I hope you enjoy. In fact, let me ask you guys, do you want to see more videos like this where I tell scary Roblox stories? Anyway, here's the story. It was probably around 2017 when I first discovered the game called The Mimic. It was a pretty popular game back then that you could play with your friends. You spawn in these little mapless lobbies, and there's a bunch of doors all around you. And you have to work together with your friends to find the key card that unlocks the door that lets you leave. But there's also a mimic in the map that is trying to kill you. And the mimic is basically like a little dude with a knife that can hide in any of the lockers or desks or anything in the level. So you always have to be looking around for him. Because if he finds you, he will attack you and try to drag you into the lockers and stuff. The last person alive wins, and the people who died can still move around as ghosts and try to help the living person. And yeah, it was pretty fun. But one day I was just playing normally and we found the key card pretty quickly. But then afterwards, me and my friend decided to run around as ghosts, just messing around. So the two of us were running around the map being ghosts. And then suddenly we saw another ghost over by one of the doors. Now at this point, I had played the game a lot, so I knew every single nook and cranny of the map, and I knew there was no way that this other ghost had gotten past the mimic. So I instantly got suspicious, and I went up to the other ghost and tried to look through him and see what was going on. So, you know how when you replay in Roblox and you're re-looking through your avatar and you see another player behind them, I was able to see through the ghost and I saw another player hiding behind him. He was literally wearing one of those ugly Roblox default shirts, and he was crouched, and he was holding his hand out like he was trying to hide. I immediately knew what was going on. Someone had found a dupe glitch for the game, and they were duplicating their items, and they just kept duplicating their knife until they had infinite knives. That's how he became a ghost. So then the mimic would come and attack him, and then he would die and become a ghost again. And you could only hold one item in this game, so he could undrop the knife, even though he died and became a ghost. And then the scariest part happened. As I was watching him, he started to walk towards me. He walked right past me, and I could hear the sound that the mimic makes when it is sneaking up on you. And I could see the knife in his hand, and I instantly ran away, because I knew that he was gone. Not try to attack me, because if he attacked me and I was a ghost, then he could steal my item and get an extra knife. But then as I was running away, I lost sight of him, and I ended up dying to the mimic. And then when I came back as a ghost, he was standing over by the door that leads you to the next round. And he had found another player, and he was trying to lead him towards the door. So I started running towards him, and I was trying to get him to stop following this other guy, because I didn't want him to leave and get an advantage in the next round. And I remember that on the side of my screen there is a little chat thing that shows who the killer was, and it said that he had been killed by the mimic, which wasn't true. He was killed by another player, and then I think someone joined the game because there was another ghost and he saw what was going on and he started chasing the other guy too. So me, this other random ghost, and the guy who was duplicating the knives, we were all running after this other player, and then the guy with the knives ran past me, and I saw the item in his hand. and I tried to take it, but I couldn't because you can only hold one item as a ghost. So then I followed him a little bit further, and he finally got to the door, and I was getting closer and closer, and then the door opened. He walked through the door, and then he turned around, and he looked at me, and he gave me the craziest face. I don't even know how to describe it. It was kinda like the face the Easter Bunny gives you in Fortnite, but the eyes infinity. It was insane. And then he walked through the door and he disappeared and I never saw him again. And then I got really scared because I thought he might be waiting for me in the next round. So me and the other ghost decided to sneak around and wait until the next player came through the door. But it turned out he didn't come. I think he left the game because if he hadn't left, then we would have seen him eventually. And then me and this other random ghost were just hanging out for a while. And we eventually got bored and left the game. I don't know if anyone else has ever experienced anything like this in Roblox, but I feel like that is definitely one of the creepiest things I've ever experienced on Roblox. I feel like that guy. What was going through his mind? Why was he trying to lead those people to the door? Was he trying to warn them? Was he trying to trick them? What was that face about? I don't know. It's really creepy. Another similar game to the Mimic is called Doors. And I feel like Doors has kind of taken over the Mimic's role in the community. I haven't played Doors in a while, but I've heard it's pretty fun. Basically the same premise as the Mimic, but with more levels and more enemies and more lore. One time I was playing with my friend and we were in this one level, and it was supposed to be like a hospital or something. And my friend told me to go check out this room down the hallway. So I went down the hallway and I saw the room and I walked in and I immediately got scared because in front of me was this bed and on the bed was this chair and creature. It was like a humanoid shape, but it was made out of fleshy tiles. It was super gross. And then it started moving and it got off the bed and it started walking towards me. And I ran away. And then I hid in one of the lockers in that room and I was looking through the window of the locker and I was watching him and he started crawling around on the floor and he was sniffing around. And then he started walking towards the door and he walked right through the door and he disappeared. I didn't even see him load into the next level. So I'm assuming that whatever level we went to next, he did not join. So I think either he left the game or he just despawned or something. But that was really creepy, because I was literally hiding in a locker, and he was almost on top of me. If he had found me, I probably would have gotten jumped and whatever. But yeah, that was also really freaky. Oh yeah. And another time, I was playing the Mimic. Me and my friends were in one of the later levels, and it was basically like a big maze. And we had found a few of the key cards already, but we were still looking for the main key card that lets you leave the level. And we were running around in a maze, and we were calling out to each other and trying to find each other. And then suddenly I heard a voice in my headphones that said, "Hello?" And I instantly got scared and I started running around. And then I found my friend and we started running around together and we couldn't find anyone else. And then all of a sudden, both of us got jumped by the Mimic and both of us died. After we did, we're still able to hear the other players screaming and running around in the level. And we could hear the Mimic attacking them. And then we could see the flashes of their avatars as they died. And then we could hear the other players leaving the level as they died. And then finally it got silent, and we were the only ones left. So, yeah, there are so many creepy Roblox moments I could share with you guys, but I feel like this is a good place to stop. Also, please subscribe because I feel like I'm getting close to hitting 100,000 subscribers. So yeah, thank you all for watching.